Hi, good morning, everyone. It's Jazz from West Ham Reunited, and this morning we're joined by two special guests and one regular. We're going to be previewing the West Ham Brentford game on Sunday. So many games happening at West Ham. Literally feels like we are playing sort of three games a week, aren't we? Really. So first of all, good morning to Kafal. Kafal, how you been? Busy studying?
I'm just getting through the paces of life, I suppose, back to college and got the freshers flu as things go straight away. So just lying in bed for the weekend, recovering and back at it again on Monday. Hopefully, West Ham can be playing well and keep me happy over the weekend.
Yes, West Ham are certainly keeping us happy out there at the moment. Long may that continue. Good morning to Barry. Barry, how are you?
Hello, Chase. Yeah, I'm great, mate. Yeah. Happy, very happy. Hammer at the minute, eh? We've got to be
Yeah,
loving it
everyone.
right now.
I know. For our viewers who might not know, Barry was a very good contributor to Hammer's polls with me. So been a while, and obviously new channel. I was looking to find all good old friends and come on the channel. So really appreciate your time. I know you've been working difficult shifts past week or so. So really grateful that you found some time this morning.
Oh, thanks for inviting me on. Yeah, it's a
No,
it's a pleasure to be involved.
thank you very much, sir. And last but not least, Mike. Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Morning, everyone. I'm good, thanks, mate. I'm really good, really good.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, been a while since spoke to Mike, and I think we're all a huge fan of Mike on a Monday through Hammers chat. So we'll ask a little bit more about Mikhail from Moscow. Hope he's all right. How's Mikhail? Have you heard from him? Has he been all right?
Yeah, unfortunately, he did get interned in a camp in Siberia. I think he attempted to purchase something in the shop, and that was seen as Western capitalism. So yeah, they shoved him in a gulag. But I have heard he has escaped. He did send me a message via carrier pigeon, saying that he had escaped and he hoped to be in touch soon. So let's hope for the best for him, eh?
I tell you what, I bet he was looking forward to the Europa draw and was hoping that we would draw a team closer to where he's from, isn't it? So he could perhaps, yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. He's still hopeful in the knockout stages that we'll get to go and watch the Hammers in his native country. Should he still remain out of captivity?
Good. Before we start, we would like to mention our sponsor, Glazewires Limited, based in Essex. So for all of your windows, doors, conservatories, please get in contact with them. They kindly agreed to sponsor the channel, and good friends of Marzi as well. So kind of please do that. And I'm just going to share sort of Mike's Twitter details. So please follow Mike, West Ham United Mike. There's the details. And perhaps some funny things on there sometimes from you, Mike. I expect that from you. You're full of entertainment, you know.
Occasionally, I mean a huge amount recently, but I do when I can. Yeah.
Excellent. And also Barry, happy days, Barry. There's Barry's details on Twitter. What I love about Barry is all right. So that's his signature thing. I love it when he does it. Hopefully, he does it a few times during the show. But
I'm sure I will. I think it's a subconscious thing. I just say it. All right.
what? He got me going. Last couple of days, it's been on my mind, mate. And also, we're also supporting Iron Supporting Food Banks. They do a great job, especially now, especially during lockdown. And Newham, you might not know, if not, is one of the poorest London boroughs. And people forgetting, okay, we're coming out the lockdown, which is brilliant, but there's still a great need ongoing. And I met John, who does a great job around the ground. So you can see these guys usually from about 3 hours before kickoff, just outside the Aquatic Centre, I think, just as before you go into the main turnstiles on your left. So help them, please contribute anything. Anything's welcome. I took chocolates there as an example. It doesn't have to be tinned food. It could be anything, even a cash donation. And I did mention that behind the scenes, you might not know, but some prominent members from the club have helped a lot, be it the board or the players that have contributed. They might not like to mention, but everyone is helping them. So, yeah, keep up the good work, John, and please support those guys, really. So on to today's game. Before we just start, I just want to mention happy birthday to Sir Trevor Brooking today. 73, I think. Hopefully I'm not wrong. So happy birthday, Trevor. What a great legend. Got a stand named after you. And literally, like Noble, only ever played for one club. Not sure how often that's going to happen going forward, really. So happy birthday to him. So West Ham United against Brentford, and Brentford, first time in my memory of being in the top division. They're probably one of the clubs that I live closest to. So I live out in Berkshire. So Brentford being based in West London are not too far. I think Reading and Wickham are not too far either. And it's always been a nice, friendly club. I've got lot of friends who go there. We'll be meeting one on Sunday who's a Brentford season ticket, really. So it's a London derby. We'll see how it goes. So the first thing I want to look at really is if we have a look at the table. So at the moment we're lying in 7th place, 11 points. Nicely just behind the European positions, and I think that's not bad. I believe we have carried on our form from last season, and I think even been 10-15% better. I think some of the players have looked certainly fitter, stronger, and David obviously brought in 2-3 players he wanted in the window, and I think it's looking good. Obviously, we would like to bring 1 or 2 more in, but we'll just discuss that a bit later on, really. So Brentford are in 9th place, so they are 2 points behind us. So again, I think it's one of the good starts from a team going up in a while. And what I like about Brentford, again, we'll chat later, is they, unlike, I don't want to say anything against Norwich, but I think Brentford looks certainly more ambitious in all the games. They do want to score goals. They are pretty open, pretty attacking, which I think is a great philosophy, rather than Norwich, that bit reserved in the way they play. And it looks like, well, very, very early yet, but it looks like they're going to struggle again this season. In terms of form, West Ham are 9th in the table, so we've drawn 2, lost 1, won 2. Brentford have got 6 points from 5. So Brentford have drawn 3, won 1, and lost 1, really. In terms of the history, we actually played them last in April 1993, which was, Division 1, I think. We won 4-0 that day. So again, we've just never been in the same division as Brentford recently. That's kind of the history. Head-to-heads, I think, 4-0 we beat them. 1992, 0-0, and we've had couple of friendlies. So it's been that kind of thing, really. Good form from both teams. Everyone's played well. Odds, I think West Ham are 1.8 to win, 3.6 for the draw, 4.5. Actually, in terms of 4.5 way win, that's not too bad. We've seen some longer odds, certainly. If I start off with you, Mike, in terms of Brentford, what's your first sort of inklings and feelings about Brentford coming into top division? What things have you liked and perhaps not sure about with them?
First of all, before I do that, can I also just quickly say happy birthday to Trevor Brooking? Because you mentioned, no, seriously, because in the late 90s, right, I used to play in a 5-a-side team, and on the last day of the league thing, they had a big do or whatever, and we had to win our last game to win the league. It was like a league, and we did. And they had special guests to present the trophy and the medals. And it was Jim Rosenthal and Trevor Brooking. So you can imagine for me, Trevor Brooking is like my favourite ever West Ham player. I know it's supposed to be Bobby Moore, but Trevor Brooking was always mine. And the first thing he said when I met him, and trust me, the guy's a total gent. Yeah, really lovely guy. He shook me hand and went, "I've just watched you play." Do you know what I mean?
Right,
Trevor Brooking said that. I was like, dude, do you know how many times I've seen you play? Do you know what I mean? I explained to him, lifelong Hammer. It's just a real honour to meet you. But the thing that really struck me about him is the guy's a unit. I mean, back in the late 90s, he obviously was really fit. I didn't realise he's nearly my height. I'm 6'4". The guy's really tall and was really well built, really trim, even though long retired. Do you know what I mean? Really looked after you. You're like, oh my God. Like, I had no idea, because he was sick. He always looks like one of those very delicate kind of players, you know. You see the old footage of him gliding over those muddy pitches and you just spraying his beautiful passes. Yeah. Proper unit. Lovely man. Joyous man. Happy birthday, Trevor. Sorry, I had to share that.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, he certainly is quite tall, and I never watched him live, but I certainly do remember some great sort of, you know, the way he used to play. He used to kind of, the passing range, the way he used to link up with Kevin Keegan for England was really impressive. And we did get relegated once, and there was a chance that perhaps, I remember I think it was late 70s, I think, when we got relegated. Ron Greenwood was worried that Trevor was going to leave because, might affect his chances of being in the England squad. And then I think Ron said, no, it doesn't matter what division you're in. I know the way you can play. and that kind of put some comfort to him, because I think Brian Clough was interested in him at one stage. But thankfully he stayed, really, and what a great man, really. And Barry, any nice memories of Trevor from? Do you remember any good games from him?
Oh yeah, like Mike there. You know, I obviously didn't get to see Moro play. I'm too young, so I remember Trevor Brooking, and he always was one of my favourite players. Yeah, if not, you know, he's up there. Him and Bonzo were my two favourite players as a kid, and when I was a lad, and he used to come down and do like Mike, but I'm talking about when I was a kid, and give out trophies at the local Catholic school that I went to.
Right, interesting. Great.
And the maddest thing is, right, why he's such a gent, Mike, and that. Just to agree, I went to a summit at Dagenham Redbridge, one of like the old boy legend things, and him and Bonzo were there. There were the guys from the '75 FA Cup team, and I got some things signed by him. And I mentioned that, yeah, I've met you before at Collier Row Catholic Club, like, and all that. And he went, yeah, I used to go down there a lot, you know, back in the day. So, you know, that's wonderful that he remembers those sorts of things, you know, that. And I feel, in my humble opinion, the players from those days are much more human than the players.
Much more approachable. And I remember back in, certainly when John Lyle was there, he made sure that the players came out the ground and spent 20-15 minutes after each game signing autographs, especially for youngsters. Training ground, Chadwell Heath before Sky Days was certainly open to anyone. You could go there, and if you waited, they would do whatever you wanted. Now, there's a lot of players that come to mind and that don't really know the culture of the club, the tradition. They quickly get in their 4x4s and will not stop for anyone. But thankfully, under this new group, I think there are a lot of good players, nice players that do a lot for charities. Declan, what an example he is. Some of the things he does for anyone, very, very. I know some fans that are good friends with him, and he sorts out tickets for them if he can. And so long. Hopefully, there are some good players out there. But the majority, like you said, they're not like the good old times, I think. And you're absolutely right with that. Going back to Mike, Brentford, first sort of thoughts on Brentford, Mike, since they've entered the good old Premiership?
Well, Brentford, okay, I think they are an exceptionally well-run club. Yeah, and they've decided to make their own model and run off into the distance with it, haven't they? The way that the thing's owned, the people who own it, the modelling they've used for signing players, and they've been at it for a few years, and they've turned, no disrespect to Brentford supporters, which I actually do know some, and they're lovely people, but a nothing club into very much like a team which look pretty well equipped to survive in the Premier League. I think they will stay up, not just because as well there's a lot of teams worse than them, but because they have got they're good in the important points. They've got good central defenders, they've got a really good goalkeeper, and they can score goals. And I think the thing that relegates teams is that ability to that inability to score goals. Do you remember when the COVID break happened with us, and then we were really staring relegation in the face? I always was like, we're not going to go down because we can score. We conceded too many, but I just thought our ability to score goals was way better than the rivals around us at the time. And I think that is the thing that's going to let Norwich down. I know they look doomed, it's easy to say, but they just aren't going to score enough goals, really, I think, to stay up, you know. On the other hand, I find them a little bit annoying as well. I really want, I want someone to get video footage on their phone of Ivan Toney pushing a pensioner into a hedge. I want them to do something. I want them to do something annoying that turns everyone, because they are like everyone's favourite second team at the moment, aren't they? I'm like, oh God, you know what I mean? There's that patronising, plucky little Brentford, here they come. Do you know what I mean? And it leaves people on maybe taking them as seriously as they should. I want to see an ugly side to Brentford. I want there to be something there that, shows that darker side, which I think you do need as well, But are we going to talk about the players in the team in a little while? I don't know.
Yes, we will. Yeah. We'll go on to the formations very shortly and look at the
Okay, but you just look at an overall thing. Really one well-run club. I mean, you look at what's happened to big clubs that have been badly run, like, I don't know, Bolton, a great example. I mean, what the hell happened there? And then you've got teams like Brentford who are, the Bournemouth of this decade now, aren't they? You know what I mean? I think they're here to stay for a good few seasons at least.
I think so. Barry, your initial thoughts on Brentford's entry into the big league so far? You've been impressed?
Oh, very impressed. And I think they're doing what Norwich did when they first came up. They're basically playing without any fear.
Yeah.
And they look like they're really enjoying themselves, all of them. Because, like Mike has said, a small club like Brentford, they've worked their way through and they're the plucky little underdog, aren't they? And everybody loves them. And I think, that is their mindset is, well, no one really knows about us. Let's just go out there and have a good time. And it's paying off for them. And they look very dangerous to me on the counter-attack. Like really quick. And that Ivan Toney, he's really clever. I think he's really clever. He's good at holding the ball up, and pinging it off some good, clever passes. So, they're dangerous today for us, I think, on the counter-attack. They're very quick. And, they could hurt us.
Yeah, quite direct, aren't they? Yeah. Kafal, what do you think of Brentford, mate?
They're just a really, really likeable team. I've watched them probably the last 2 or 3 seasons. When Ben Rama was there, I'd always wanted us to sign him. I always thought he was one of the main players in the Championship, and they were a real fun team to watch. I think Thomas Frank has done wonders with them. He really has them playing lovely football, and it's good to see them up. And they've shown they're up for it. They have the quality to stay in the Premier League. I think they'll get a good few years out of it. And I think they just need to keep building. They've had a really good system in place the last few years to get people in cheap, and sort of what Southampton were doing a few years ago when they were on their good run. You'd get them in cheap and you'd sell them for great profit, and then you'd build again, keep building. And eventually them sort of styles of a football club do fall. You just can't replace enough. But if they can keep the base players and keep the sort of strong spine they have in the team, they could really be a solid sort of Premier League team for the next few years.
Yeah, I think so, definitely. And just remembered another fact. Obviously, they've moved. Well, the ground is very new. It's on the same area spot where the old ground was, so they've got a new ground. And for all those people out there that like their ale and beers, they're very close to Fuller's Brewery, and I went to a tour there a couple of years ago. So London Pride is one of their big labels there. And they used to have a Griffin Brewery in the background as well. So a lot of history around that area, and they're very close to where Sky are based, literally a couple of roads away. So that's in the part of the world where they are. So if we look at the formations, Barry, they play 3-5-2. It looks like certainly it looked that way against Liverpool. In terms of sort of signings, so if we have a quick look at their signings, I think the majority, they spent a fair bit of money, 13.5 million on Christopher Ayer from Celtic, centre back. So he's one of those 3 at the back that they play, and he was the one, if you remember, that cleared that Liverpool, was it Jota or Salah's goal was going in, and he made that goal line clearance. You got Frank Onyeka from 8 million he cost. So he was from a team in Denmark, FC Midtjylland. So he plays in that 5 across the midfield. You got 8.5 million Johan Wissa from Lorient, France. He hasn't featured much. Harris from Chelsea, attacking midfielder, 1.4 million. So it looks like they don't really tinker with their formation too much. It doesn't look like a 3-5-2. Barry, in terms of the way they play, like you said, they're quite direct, quite attacking. Do you think we should continue to play sort of 4-2-3-1? That served us quite well for what certainly most of the time David Moyes has been there. Do you think we should tinker, looking at the way they're going to set up, which looks like 3-5-2?
No, I wouldn't. I would play our game. I would stick with the formation and play our game, but it will be a midfield battle because they're going to block it up with the 5, aren't they? we're going to have some intelligent football today from West Ham, I think. Bit of patient football with some intelligent passing, you know, some intelligent passing that can just pick open the side. We need someone to put their foot on the ball and play some really clever football today, I think, to break them down.
I think so. Like you said, 5 across the middle. Yeah, that can be tricky, isn't it? We certainly will need to make sure our fullbacks can sort of get up and down that line and break them up and try to support the Antonio and the 3 behind him, really. I was looking at the Brighton game, Mike, that Brighton beat Brentford 1-0, and Brighton was set up 3-4-1-2. So I was just interested to see, like last time they lost, how the opposition was set up. So, and Mike, what do you think? You think West Ham should set up a bit differently than they traditionally do in this kind of unique formation?
That Barry's bang on. I would get them to adapt to us. So is pretty much that's what you were kind of saying, wasn't it? Instill our game on them, isn't it, Barry? I took away from what you're saying. I agree with that totally. Yeah. The thing is, with that, it's easy to look at the 5 in the middle and go, our midfield will get overwhelmed. But 2 of that is the wing backs, okay? So let's take them out of the game by quite simply pinning them back. We will have a numerical wide advantage. Moyes loves creating overloads out on the left and right. So if it was me, I would put Fornals at the number 10 spot. He's got a better work rate for tracking back slightly anyway. Well, not least work rate. He's just better at doing it. He knows the better positions to take. And Ben Rama back out on the left because he will run and that will force the wing backs back, which is where you want them. Then you've got 3 onto 2. But when that 2 are Rice and Souček in the centre, I would expect us to dominate that middle of the park, especially if Pablo just does a little bit of tracking back to counteract that. I think that overlapping fullback formation is the kryptonite to the 3 at the back formation, if you know what I mean, because it is where the space is wide, and we are really good at creating overloads in wide spaces. It's something we've obviously focused on, especially when Antonio pulls out and we push through the centre with the midfield. It will really cause some problems if they've only got like one real. It will force the centre backs out again. It will create all sorts of space. I actually think for us, attacking wise, we should definitely stick with that. And as for defending wise, I think their weakness is I don't think they've got a lot of creativity in that midfield. Again, it's easy to look at the numbers and look at the 5 there, but they're not particularly creative. They really rely on a very quick transition forward. So we're going to have to be careful when we lose possession in attacking spaces. But I can't see them picking their way through us through the middle. They will funnel everything through the middle because that's where they're over. Where their space will be, where their one man over will be. And I just think that that will play to our favour because that's where we're strongest as well. We're probably more weaker against teams that attack down our flanks as well.
Yeah, I think you're right. I was looking at their stats last season. I always like to see sort of who does the major assist, who scores a lot of goals. And Kafar looks like Mike is right. Ivan Toney, 31 goals in 44 games last season. Sergi Canos, the midfielder, he got 9, but I'm not sure Canos is going to get anywhere near 9 in the Premier League. And Brian Mbeumo got 8 goals, so certainly nothing near what Ivan Toney got. So perhaps there's a couple of players that are really tough workhorses and let Ivan Toney get on with it, really. Kafal, again, should we set up any differently? Should we bring in any players that are on the fringe or that type of thing? What do you think?
I don't think so. I think Moyes has his sort of mindset on sticking to the same way, and he showed that by even when he's picking a second team he could even change 10 people and he's still playing the same way. He has everyone training for the same style of football, and he has that sort of mindset that it's going to go through the whole club. He'll probably want the underage lads playing the same system. I think we just have to stick the same. We've been really good recently. We're a really solid team. And I don't think we should change it for anyone. I don't fear anyone right now. I think Brentford are ones we can't sort of look over, though. I know they're only come up and we've had a better start, but they've had a great start to the year, and they can certainly score goals. They've the likes of Ivan Toney up front. We all know he's prolific in front of goal the last few years, and we'll have to have the lads sort of set up that they can deal with that. But it's the midfield battle. We'll need the wing. The wingers are going to be hugely important in this game. How much they're going to have to work on both sides, because we're going to need to form the we need to form the overlaps with the attack. We'll need to cover them on the defense, because there's going to be five of them. With the likes of Canos and Rico Henry on the wing back formations, they're much more attacking based. So if we can pin them back, they're not going to be as good defensively. And it's going to be a tough one for Antonio. If he's up there by himself, he's going to need a lot of support, because if there's three centre backs there, I think Pinnock's going to be out for it. But the likes of Janssen and Ayer are both big lads, and they're the sort of lads that might be able to do a sort of decent job if they can deal with Antonio's physicality. He'll need to play real smart, and he'll need a lot of support to get through them.
I think so. That formation, yeah, there's certainly something to think about.
It's a really awkward formation to play against, because there's so much that goes. You have to think about when you're playing against it.
Yeah, I mean, going back to that, and David Moyes, you know, I was one of the ones that really supported him. I'm really happy for what he's done so far. Obviously, there is room for improvement with everything anyone does in the world, and if it begins to look like we're getting overpowered, then that's the one thing I worry about, David. He doesn't change things really quickly. You get some managers at half time, I've seen them take one or two people off, and I like proactive managers. So that's my only worry. If we don't start off well, and it looks like Brentford's formation, we're getting on the top, then David takes a little bit longer than most managers to do anything. Really, Barry, is that something that worries you sometimes with David as well?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. I do agree. Yeah, he leaves it a bit late in the game to change it. Personally, yeah, I would, as if I was manager and it ain't worked at the first in the first half, you know, I think about changing at half time and giving the lads time to get into the game. Sometimes those late substitutions, I think, as just as a fan, think like, well, you know, how's he going to get into the game? Has he got enough time to get into the game, to read the game, you know, to actually make an effect? But then, many times I've been wrong. You know, you say, what's he going to do? And then he comes on and he does something. You know?
I know.
You know? But that's how I look at it as a manager. If I was a manager, then I would give a player more time, yes. I always found out with Redknapp, it used to frustrate the hell out of me, Redknapp, when he was the governor. He'd breathe it real late, and you knew it was crying out for a change. But I think there's a much difference between Redknapp and Moisey. In my opinion, I was very nervous here. But right now, you don't need to be nervous. The team's full of confidence. They're playing really well. You can see there's a real togetherness. Yeah. And back in the Redknapp era, I feel that like we was always we were always very pessimistic, if that's the right word. Would we always win? No. You know, we'd be a bit. We're up against the hard team today. I think we can be a much more confident fan base, confident club. You know, Moyes is doing a great job. He's got them really going forward with a head of steam, and I love it. I absolutely love it. It's wonderful. Because I didn't really want him, and I'm glad he's making me eat my words. You know, good lad. You know, I'm really behind the man now. You know.
Yeah. I think going back to Harry wasn't very strong on the defensive side of the game. I remember, so we did used to concede a lot of goals, and he being brought up from the 60s, Harry, he did used to play like West Ham, would win 4-3, 5-4, that kind of thing, where David, certainly more organisation is given to the defensive shape and hard work side of things. And obviously some people, and there were a lot of obstacles when David came, they were saying, okay, we might win, but it's going to be 1-0, it's going to be pretty dour football, and it's the complete opposite. It's even shocked me. If you look at the number of goals we're scoring, the one-touch football, I think there's one game, I think, we nearly scored, and it was about 9-10 passes from the back all the way till the front, really. So I think, the team are doing really well. Going back to Ivan Toney, it's quite interesting. So, he did a lot of work at Peterborough, where Barry Fry is, and being such a close friend of Sullivan's, I'm surprised we didn't tap Toney up any earlier. I mean, 2019 season, he scored 16 goals in 44, 24 in 32 before going to Brentford. just really surprised. But then again, I mean, good thing is David is changing things slowly. Everyone through the door has been good. We had a new recruitment person start literally a couple of days ago, Rob Newman. Again, sort of, Mike, what do you think about Rob Newman? We did need a scouting sorted out, and hopefully it really begins to take shape now under this new person, isn't it?
It had to change. It was shocking, really. I mean, we were one point advertising for a volunteer scout. That is how bad it was. This is like a year ago. This isn't history. This is like a year ago. You're like, oh my God, what is going on? I think. Okay, so first of all, I mean, just before I say anything else, it's very kind of you, Jazz, to ask me to come on and talk about West Ham, which I'm always willing to do on your lovely channel. Let me preface all of this, though, by saying when Moyes came back, I thought it was a disastrous move and the wrong step to make, totally. I'm not going to pretend I did.
I think that's the majority, Mike, that was back then. I was just a freak. I'm like, yeah, but you're absolutely right. And I understand them. Yeah. Some of the
I now completely eat every word of that. He has turned out to be an inspired managerial choice, and I completely behind him. And there you go. But what can I say? The guy's done an astounding job. It's not just the fact we had a great season last season, got into Europe. It's the fact that there isn't any let up. Like, we've had these little flash in the pan successful seasons, like the Bilic season, the last season at Upton Park, followed by mediocrity. It just looks like win, lose or draw or whatever happens moving forward for the rest of the season, we've gone out with that intent to actually do as well, if not better. Moyes is talking about doing better and improving, and everything he's doing is pointing that way. So this is, for West Ham, given our history, and Barry will back me up on this, I'm sure, right? This is, and you're right, Barry, you're absolutely right. That pessimism, that dark humour, even our much-loved song, Much Like My Dreams, they fade and die, fortune's always hiding, right? That is the West Ham humour. I was explaining this to someone literally 2 days ago. No, you were singing that bubble song, where's that come from? And I said, you actually listen to the words? No. And I just recited them, and they're like, oh my God, that's bleak. And I'm like, yeah, but that is our humour. And now we're looking at this, and suddenly there is something really positive moving forward. So going back to the original point, because you have to put it in that context, I think, of where we were to where we're going, that the appointment of Rob Newman is a really, really progressive thing. I think it's just an amazing thing to do. It shows an intent to get things right. You can't expect Moyes to do all of the recruitment as well as manage the team. And I think it just shows that it needed to come away from the dictator as football, as I used to call him, our mate David Sullivan. It needed to come away from him, and it needed to be done by someone who's been brought in freshly. I'm not even banging David Sullivan here, though I could do about numerous things. So it's the platform for it, but the point is, it is a step in the right direction, and the club, by doing that, are following what Moyes wants to do. And I just think that is a movement that is so positive. It's so progressive for us, given the history I've just waffled about. I think it's an incredibly good thing to do. Whether he turns out to be the right guy or not is yet to be seen, of course. But given the way Moyes assembled, because it isn't just Moyes, it's that backrooms team he brought in as well, which has turned out to be like inspired recruitment. I mean, we've obviously got a really good. It's the players. Barry was talking rightly about the unity of the players and that unity within the team, but it's also that coaching staff that operate behind there that are part of it, and they are seen as a unit, one and all. And that's just great. It's amazing progression for us.
And Kafal, I mean, talking about scouting and how do you feel the new person will settle in, what we will do? And funny enough, playing Brentford, they're a model that we should look for, isn't it? Despite being a much smaller club than West Ham. If you look at, even Tony, you're talking about Mopay, we're talking about Watkins. It's just a revolving door at Brentford, isn't it? Where they're able to go out and get these players and make really good money on them. So what are your thoughts on this new scouting person coming in, and what's your hopes that we can achieve next 1 or 2 years at least under this new sort of scouting network? Hopefully that'll be set up.
Well, I hope we can do better than Brentford, and hopefully we can keep our best players. I hope we're we're not going to be going and selling them like we have in the past, and we've kept them the last few years. We really need to keep that up. We should be buying the best players from the likes of Brentford and making them our best players and keeping them, building the squad. If it's a Moyes move, I think Moyes has been given a lot more freedom over the last few months, and now that he's got his own man in scouting, I think it's going to be huge. To bring that pessimistic sort of backbone that all us West Ham fans do have back into it, we'll have to see if he can do it. Like he's been with Man City for I think 12 years. He won't have £1 billion to work with us. So we'll need to see. This is going to be the tough job. This is going to be the real job where he has to sign proper players for a real particular manager. He'd be very particular with the likes of players he wants, and it's going to be a tough one. But if Moyes gets him in, I'm really on the sort of just let Moyes do what he wants, trust him, fund him, trust him. I didn't want him the first time he came to the club, but after then I actually didn't. I was kind of upset that we didn't keep him, but everyone got excited when we got Pellegrini in. I know that's the truth, and we thought we had the real pedigree coming in then. But from looking back on it, I felt real bad for Moyes, and he was going on Sky saying he felt sort of upset that he didn't get to keep on. And we've seen since he's come back, he's come back with a vengeance, and he's working wonders. That it's so united. We're finally we are West Ham United right now, and it's like a family in the backroom team and all the players. It's so good, and hopefully the scout can make it even better and unite it even more.
Yeah, really. I think it's looking good. We're looking at trying to improve everything slowly but surely. I think when you look at teams like Leicester, the amount of money they're putting into their training ground, it is quite an important thing when you're trying to attract a player. The other thing I used to think about, which I'm loving at the moment, is Europa. Is it puts your club on the map. We haven't been in Europe for many years. Yes, everyone in this chat and us, we know West Ham. It's our life. But you don't know any of the young people out there, young players. Are we really famous out there? I know we've got support all over the world, but if you're in Europa, it really makes your club visible and helps you attract the right players as well, really. So if you go back to today's game, I was going to look at our formation. In terms of injuries, Fredericks is struggling, and again, the boy is one of those like perhaps Lanzini, Yablenko. We can't get 3-4 games out of him in a row, especially because he began to look really good this season and was good last season. Kafal's got a knock. I believe he should be okay, hopefully. Formation, 4-2-3-1, you think, Barry, again? What team do you think we should put out tomorrow, mate? And any changes, any players you want in who perhaps not featured so much this season?
I'm not up. I'd like to see Crowell play. I
thought he was going to play Thursday, mate. I was like, what? Just give Souček a break. He doesn't quite look on it. Needs a break. I didn't get it, mate. And then he didn't even come on as a sub, Crowell. Really odd. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something I'm scratching my head for. Yeah, I can't work that out, Chaz. As you say, Souček, wonderful player, and I really think I love him. Right? Let's use the word. I love him. I think he's great. He works hard, but he does look a bit jaded at sometimes. And I'd give him a go. This Crowell. Why get these players in and then not give them a go? We've got a small squad. We don't want to get injuries. Let's give him a go. He played in the Euros. He looked good. Is it going to be another one of those? I can never pronounce his names. Who was the other lad that came with Tevez?
Mascherano.
Mascherano.
He don't get in the side, and then he plays for Liverpool and Barcelona and all that. I mean, is it going to be another one of them?
Yeah. In terms of formations, Barry, 4-2-3-1 is what we would normally do. You might have heard from me, jumping a bit up and down about Areola. I wanted him to come into the team purely because I think Fabianski. I watched him live at Newcastle. I was at the game and a couple of other games. He really does have. He does have an issue kicking the ball. I don't know if it goes back to his injuries. He doesn't kick the ball much. The power's not there in the legs. So when we've got the ball in his hands and it's a goal kick, it's not an advantage. He has to give it to the defenders on the side. And then sometimes the club's opposition, they'll know what we're doing and they'll gang up on the defenders when we've got the ball. So I don't know what you think about Fabianski and Barry. Do you think it's coming to the end for him? And Areola, for me, will be France's number one in the next couple of years as Lloris sort of calms down a bit, gets a bit older. I think we need to give the boy a chance, proper chance.
Yeah, well, yes, I agree. I believe that Fabianski is coming to the end of his career. But I still really like him. I understand what you're saying about the ball, but giving the ball away. But is Areola, my question is Areola up to the Premiership pace of the game and the decision making? So so I would still go with Fabianski, but I would play Areola every European game, and I'd even play him every cup game. FA Cup, and get him in that way. Yeah. And then if he's doing the great decisions in the FA Cup and in the League Cup, then obviously you start getting him in the league.
I know what you mean. Areola was, I think he was Fulham's one of their better players last season. And then if you look at his pedigree, I think he spent time at Real Madrid. He's come from PSG. I think the fee to get him over the line next year is around 13-14 million, which I think is really good value for someone like that. In terms of our formation, centre-back pairing, who would you pick tomorrow? Because it looks like we've got 3-4 options this season. Good options, isn't it?
Yeah, true. I'd go with Dawson. I'd go with Dawson and Diop.
Oh wow! Okay.
Well, actually, that's. Would you rest Zuma? That is the question.
No, he's the big chief. I love him.
Really, can you? You can't. That was silly. No, you wouldn't. No, you would. I would go Dawson and Zuma then. Yeah.
That'd be expensive bench then tomorrow, wouldn't it? With Vlasic next to him.
It would. Yeah, it would.
Yeah. Mike, for you, formations or players, or what do you feel?
I get that we're playing a lot of games and all the rest of it, and I understand what you're saying there. But just to negate that, there is no game next week. It's international break time, so everyone gets a little bit of time off, though not the international players, which is a lot of them. So maybe ignore me on that one. But I'm a big fan of Areola, and I would play him. I agree with you, Jack. And remember last season, he was Fulham's Player of the Season. That's a relegated team. He saw a lot of action with a very porous defence, and he was very, very good for Fulham. Again, their real problem, the reason they got relegated, again, is they couldn't score goals. They just couldn't score enough. You look at the amount of draws they had, that's what got them relegated. But they were good at keeping them out, and he was one of the principal reasons for that. Because I live up north and I can't get to London Stadium much, I go to away games here. So I was at the Man U game in the Carabao Cup, which he played, and he was really good. Really good. And what you see, as you well know from when you're at a game as opposed to watching it on TV, is his constant barking instructions at his defenders, constant alerting them to what's happening behind them. And just his physicality as well. The guy's bendy. He's like he's made of rubber or something. He's just ability to get down quickly and whatever. I'm not knocking Fabianski. Fabianski is already demonstrated this season he can still make a lot of very good saves. But Areola's better in the air. But Fabianski's weakness, I think, is still the crosses that come in. He's still a bit flappy-handsky at times.
I
and we are up against Ivan Toney. I want a commanding goalkeeper in there because that is where he's at his best. He is really good in the air. And also, for that reason, I agree with Barry. I'd play Dawson for no other reason than go, "Oi, Dawson, you're brilliant in the air. Mark Ivan Toney for the game." Because that, I think, could well and truly take him out of the game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Other than that, I think we'll play 4-2-3-1. I wouldn't change much apart from it. As I've already said, put Fornals at the 10 spot and Benrahma on the left, and play Bowen. You're right. Souček really looks like he needs a rest. Král played in that game against Man U that I was at, and he looked really good. I liked him. He can pass. I liked his movement going forward as well. He wasn't just a sitter defender. He was good. He was more of a box-to-box with maybe a bit more of a defensive edge, but his interceptions were really good. He read the game well. Reminded me, he's more like Rice than Souček. Do you know what I mean? He's more like a Rice with very bad hair than a Souček type. Even though he's also another unit. He's a big boy. Is Král. You don't realise you see him on the pitch. Crikey!
Yeah,
We like them
yeah.
big, don't we? Mm.
What about
Yeah,
your
so
centre back pairing? What about that? What centre backs would you play tomorrow?
I'm really tempted, as I say, with Dawson. I'd go with Dawson and O'Brien maybe, but then Zuma's really good in the air as well. That's one of the reasons we've got him. So maybe not. I don't know. I think we have to be very wary of Ivan Toney's ability again in the air. And then Barry made a really good point on that. And I think for that reason, I might well go with Dawson, because Dawson's just a beast. He's really good at marking that kind of big, good in the air striker. Is that what you kind of meant by it, Barry? Is that what you were saying, mate?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember the game, and just to give an example, a game against Burnley last year. That Chris Woods, he's a physical player, good in
Exactly.
the air and all that. And he bossed him, Dawson. He bossed him. You know, it was a great competition. Woods won a couple, but Dawson didn't give in. He came back to him, and it was equal on the day. And that's what I liked about him. And he's strong.
Absolutely. See, bang on. I agree. And it's just that we need that kind of defensive performance against Ivan Toney. Yeah, we need someone to do exactly that. I've forgotten about that. You're right. And Dawson is never bullied by anyone. I'm not saying he's rude. I'm saying enough of him, but you know what I mean. He just is me. When Dawson falls down, is against quick players. He always gets found out by Sam Maxim every time, doesn't he? Time play Newcastle, he will be. He's really bad against that faster, trickier player. So you're not going to play him against Liverpool, are you? Because he hasn't really got that central striker to mark, which is his job. That's what he's really good at. But in a two, especially with the two of them, with Emma and Bueno. By the way, has anyone noticed Bueno, right? Do you know how old he is? He's 22. He looks 40. He looks ancient. He's 22.
I think he was like 19 by the time, because it was him, Watkins and Benrahma when he was playing at his best, and he was only about 18, 19 at the time. He hasn't been as good since then. He really had a great link up with the likes of Benrahma, Watkins. They had a really good forward line then, and
they were good,
he sort of
weren't
moved. But they were playing different formation. I think they were more of a 4-3-3 team back then, and now they've changed formation. He's sort of not a lone striker, but he's playing more centrally. But he can be real dangerous. He has a good goal scoring record in the championship. So he's definitely one to watch for the future. He's young and he's going to be really good.
Yeah, some interesting comments with the viewers. I think it's a mixed opinion. I do realise that Areola is the better overall goalkeeper, but they don't think Fabianski's form warrants him being dropped at the moment.
It's a good point. It's a really good point. I did say Fabianski hasn't actually done anything wrong. He's actually made a lot of good saves. I am worried about the aerial presence of it. You can tell. I want Areola and Dawson in the team. I'm worried about the aerial presence. I mean, you know, if it weren't for that, I'd go back for Fabianski and I'd play Zuma all day. Yeah, but that does worry me. And Bueno as well, he's good at picking up even though he has got a big ass and he looks really old for somebody who's only 22. He is really good at picking up. It's good movement off the ball and picking up scraps. We have to be solid here. Yeah. And you're right. I've just seen Zuma is better player than Dawson. I just think for this game.
And Kafal, I mean, I agree with Mike again with Areola against the League Cup Man United game. He was commanding. He was coming out to collect the ball. And that's the thing I noticed Fabianski. The defenders know he doesn't come out. He doesn't punch the ball. He doesn't come out. He's just very, very not mobile anymore. Yeah. So the same question for you, Kafal, in the interesting areas, formation, centre-backs, and anything you change for tomorrow?
I think Fab's going to play. I'm on the Areola side of things. I'd want Areola to play. I think he's too good to be a second choice goalie. But I don't think Fab's done enough wrong to be dropped. I think Moyes wouldn't drop him anyway, and I think he hasn't warranted being dropped. Centre backs. I'm a big member of the Craig Dawson fan club. I love him. I think he's no nonsense. Just shows it as it is, and he's a real solid defender. Yeah, he gets shown up by the little sort of agile lads with a bit of pace on them, but that's why we have other centre backs there in the team that we can play against them teams. But I think it's going to be Zuma and Ogbonna. I think week off. sort of time to rest after. I think we're just going to go out there with the best possible team. I think they're going to be there, and Zuma's well able to command aerially. I think he might even be a bit bigger than Dawson, and he has more athleticism to him. I don't think Tony is too much to be worried about with the athleticism. I think he's a real instinctive striker. He knows how to find the space. If he needs to physically match up, he's a big lad. He can do it physically against a lot of centre backs. But I wouldn't be worried too much about him skinning anyone and doing having much agility on it. So I think Zuma would be well able to deal with them on both sides of the sort of the scale, and Ogbonna's he's just the man. Them Italian centre backs, they just don't give up really.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, what I would do is I would put Areola in goal, and I'd go for Zuma and Ogbonna. I think I'll start off with them two. Zuma literally hasn't put a foot wrong. He's looked a really good signing, 26 in his prime. Again, really good for the club to get a player of that stature and quality over the line. Apart from that, in terms of formation, there's a lot of things David Moyes can do to counter that five in midfield. You could perhaps play Rice, Souček and Král, all three of them. But then you're going to lose a little thing up front. But it's just something to think about. We could match them and play Kufal, Krezi as a wing backs, or Krezi in one of the back three. So lots of good options for David to think about. But he doesn't like to tinker too much. One player I wanted to sort of talk about was Vlasic. So just quickly going back to you, Mike. So Vlasic was a player I believe that Mikel from Moscow done a scouting report on, and I'm not sure if Mikel did a good job or did he have too much vodka that day. But Vlasic, certainly very early to kind of have any negative comments or nothing like that. But the only thing I was mentioning again, he doesn't at the moment look anything better than what we've got, and it's a huge fee, isn't it, on his head? And I don't notice him in any of the games. And well, what's your early feelings on Vlasic? How he settled in, you think?
I think he's going to need quite a lot of adjustment period, isn't he? I think the thing you can say is, from reports I've heard, he fits in with the squad well. He's got the work ethic as well. He does trap back and he works hard, but he hasn't made any impact in any way when he has come on or played, and he needs time though. You know, sub appearances or whatever, and maybe playing in the Carabao or to adjust to playing in this league. It's going to be very, very different. When we signed him, I did actually manage to smuggle a message through to Mikhail, and he said he's one of the best players in that league, and he was like. He said, "Oh, you've done well with your capitalist pig dog money." I believe it's his exact quotes, so he thought it was a really good signing. I think a lot of people were quite excited about it, and I think he will turn out to be a really good signing. I think he'll come good, but you could be looking at maybe after Christmas when he's had time to adjust before we start to see the best of him. I'm not about to give up on him or slag him off or anything, because he looks interested. I'll tell you one thing: when you see him off the ball, when he's not got the ball, he's always demanding it. He always wants the ball. He's always showing for the ball. Unfortunately, when he gets it, he's giving it away quite a lot. But he wants the ball. He wants to be involved. And as long as he keeps doing that, it will click for him. I think the ability's there.
Barry, Vlasic for you?
Well, I don't really know much about him, but I would agree with what Mike's saying there. He's just going to take a bit of time to adjust. Yeah. And from the little that I've seen of him, like Mike's saying, he looks keen and things. You just got to give the bloke some time, really. It's just one of those things. I think he will come good.
Yeah, it's the value, isn't it? Really, Kafal. For me, as an example, we could have bought Edouard and Armstrong together for the same money. So, same question to you, Kafal. Vlasic, early feelings about him being how he settled in.
I think Mike made a great point saying he always wants the ball. I've seen that as well. I know it's only watching the TV and you don't see as much, but he really does want it. He's always calling for it. It's going to take time. I'm a bit surprised with how slow he looks compared to what I was thinking he'd be like. I thought he'd be a bit zippier, but maybe he just needs to get a real sort of long sort of stride on it and a good chance to run at people. But he's very nimble. He's sort of low centre of gravity. He looks bulked up as well. He looks strong enough for the Premier League. He has the right build for that sort of position. He just needs the sort of I think it's what Lanzini had when he needs a bit of confidence. He needs just to get that goal, and the way when Lanzini got that goal and the confidence all came back, we had probably a year and a half where Lanzini was doing nothing for us, and we were thinking, will we get rid of him? What's the point? He's just a bench warmer at this stage. He got the goal, and he even changed position. He can play him in multiple positions now. He's not as fast as he used to be, but he has the agility, he has the confidence, and he has the technical skill for it. And I think Vlasic can be the very same. Once he gets that sort of big contribution, the big goal, he's really going to hit form. And Moyes wouldn't spend near 30 million on a player if he didn't think he was good enough and he didn't know how he's going to be. And there would have been a lot of thought going into it, and it's not gonna fail, I don't think.
Mike, I wanted to ask you the situation on the penalty taker at West Ham, which is a concern. Who do you think should be the penalty taker? And do the players actually know who it is? Because it didn't seem like it the last time. They're all looking. I mean, Declan picked the ball up, but other things were happening on the touchline. What do you think?
I think it needs sorting out. Actually, that was the minute I saw what they were doing in that game, I was like, oh no. Because you just think of the Euros final, don't you? Do you know what I mean? You can't help but reflect on that and go, that was a really bad move. But hindsight's always good. But we've got that hindsight. So the guy, it wasn't like Nobes was on the side warming up to come on. He's gone on completely cold and unwarmed up. He's get him on to take the penalty, which is the opposite of a vote of confidence, a vote of unconfidence, whatever you want to call it, on whoever was meant to take that. I don't know if it's supposed to be Rice or Antonio. We do need to know, but I need to know from my fantasy team which member has got to take the penalties, please. Because if it is going to be Rice, he is becoming a really good player to bring in suddenly, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? Because he's starting to score anyway, and if he's saying penalties, I really want him in, especially with the amount of tricky players. We've got people who aren't afraid to run with the ball in the box. Obviously, Antonio, Benrahma, and Bowen are gonna create penalty opportunities because they will run with the ball in the box, and that will tempt players to dangle a leg, and we all know what's going to happen then. So I think we need, I don't know who's meant to be taking them. I'm guessing it's Declan. Declan's fearless, isn't he? He really has plays without fear, which is, there's still people. I live up north, right? There are people go, yeah, he's not that good, is he? Declan Rice, and you're like, oh my God, did you not watch the Euros? And I guess if you just watch Match of the Day, what do you see of Declan Rice apart from the odd surging run, right? But when we watch him week in, week out, we know exactly what that guy does. But surely the Euros quelled that. His positioning, cutting out, intercepting, robbing people of the ball. And he was told, obviously, to stay back. That is what his role was for the team. But his ability to follow instruction then, that needs applauding as well. His ability to fulfill what the management demands of him are really important. But the key thing is he's fearless. He will go forward if that's what the manager wants. He will stay back and defend. He will play in a Euros final. And I was amazed when he got substituted. I thought he was the best player on the pitch for us in that game at that point. He was commanding that midfield. And the reason I think we lost is because he went off. He was absolutely commanding that. Bosses of midfield. So if he wants to do it, let him do it. He's fearless. He can certainly hit the ball, can't he? Do you know what I mean? He knows how to do it. And you know what? He might miss one or two early days, but I bet he would become the new Nobes of penalty taking. Once he's got that mojo in, boom, they're in every time.
Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of Southgate, and we started that final with 7 defensive players, I think. But anyway, that's for another programme. And Barry, going back to the penalty situation, surely the players, before the game starts, they know who the penalty taker is. And it can't be good for Declan. I know he's very confident, as Mike said, but it can't be good mentally for you that you picked up the ball. I mean, he used to battle with Lingard last season, didn't let him take it much then. He picked up the ball in this occasion and then got overruled. What do you think about the penalty situation at West Ham? Penalty, who should it be? And should Noble have taken it? I mean, I when I found out what's happening, I've got to stick with my initial, and I was quite excited. I thought, God, this could be a really smart move by David. So I kept quiet. I know it's easy to say now, so I've just got to go back to what I was feeling back then, really. And what do you think, Barry?
Well, I wouldn't have brought him on because he wasn't warmed up. Yeah, so no, I would have let someone on the pitch take it. Rice is looking like the best penalty taker, right? And like Mike's alluded to and you've alluded to, yes, it's a bit of non-vote confidence, is it? It's undermining someone's confidence. Now, he is looking so confident at the minute. He's full of pomp and he's, right on the money, Rice. Now, if we want to keep him and things, yeah, I think, you need to back him on everything he's doing because he's doing everything right now. Yeah? So, yes, Noble's coming to the end. It's a shame. He's been a great penalty taker and things like that. Yeah? But you've got to hand the baton over at some point, and that's now. Yeah? And Rice is our leader. He is our leader. He's going to be our new leader from Noble and everything. So we just got to, make him feel full of confidence and then that go with the rest of the team.
Yeah, totally agree with you. Kafal, what do you think? Who should be the penalty taker?
I think you hear things saying Rice is one of the best finishers at the club. So, and the lads want him to shoot more, and he's getting forward this season, and he's looking class. I think if it's set for him, let him take them. I was thinking more personally. I don't see why Cress hasn't taken a few of them. I think Cress is one of the best dead ball takers in the club.
Yeah,
and I think he just thunder it in. Like he wouldn't mess around. He wouldn't go. He'd choose in his head. He'd go, I'm putting it there, and he'd bloody hit it in, and that's all you have to do. Yeah, just wouldn't it be nice to have a number 3 left back taking your penalties and him smashing them into the top corner again? Let him at it.
Yeah. Bring back some.
That is a great idea. I hadn't thought of that. That is a really good idea. Yeah, he's a good set piece taker. He can certainly leather it. It's whether he wants to, though, I guess. But it's a great idea. It's a really good idea.
Well, he's usually there at most games doing the commentary up in the stand. So if you can just wear his boots and shorts, just be ready. Shouldn't take that long for him to just come down the stairs quickly. And but you never know. Yeah, before we ask everyone's opinion on what's going to happen tomorrow in terms of a prediction, I just wanted to know from everyone, starting off with Mike, which player from another team in the Premier League, especially perhaps in terms of a new signing or someone you haven't seen before, that's impressed you and you thought, okay, didn't know that much about this player and he's really come on sort of bounds this season. So any player from one other Premiership team this season that's for you really hit the ground running and been very impressed with them?
Oh, blimey, you've dropped that on me. Who have I seen and been impressed with? Oh, God.
Shall I come back to you, Mike?
Let me have a think for a minute. Sorry, mate.
Barry, Kafal, anyone want to come in?
The one is that Gallagher geezer that's gone.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking about. Yeah.
He didn't do much for me at West Brom. I thought he was okay, and I didn't particularly like him, I've got to say, but he's gone to Palace, and he's really shone there, hasn't he? Really shone.
Yeah.
And he's definitely one for the future, a big player for the future. Now, I've heard that he's actually a Chelsea player that's out on loan.
He is. Yeah. I didn't notice him last season, like you said, Barry. I didn't notice him last season.
He's not going to make it at Chelsea. They have Billy Gilmore out on loan as well, so they'll probably get 25-30 million for him.
Do you know, here's one for you. Here's one. Now, someone like Gallagher, like that, you see, if a club, a sleeping giant like Newcastle, went and bought him and put him in the side, and they had something about him, Newcastle, he'd be a massive player for Newcastle. Absolutely massive. They would love him up there. I don't know what you guys think.
No, I do. I think,
like you say, pal.
Yeah.
He's not going to make it at Chelsea, so he's got to go somewhere else, isn't he?
Yeah. Kafal, for you, what do you think about Gallagher and any other players that you think have stood out for you?
Yeah, I think Gallagher's one of them. I think I have a bit of a no shit Sherlock one, but Salah's just class, isn't he? He's just as annoying as he is to watch, and he dives about. He can just score goals for fun. He's one of the best goal scorers in the world. I think Odsonne Edouard, another Palace player. I know he hasn't played a lot so far. He's only new enough, but he's really one I want us to get. I'd be a Celtic fan, so I've seen a lot of him over the years he was there. There was the last while at Celtic, he actually he wasn't the best, but he got a if he was on form there, he probably would have cost 30 million, and they got him for near enough 15. So I think he would have been a great signing for us, and I really was looking for us to sign Edward for the last 2 years, I'd say.
Yeah.
But he's really good. He's an eye for a goal, and he gets involved with the play. He's a real nice footballer to watch.
Yeah, not bad price. I'm hearing 15, 16 million at tops for him, so not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Mike, I would add, if we're talking about Liverpool, they've got a really nice young lad called James Milner. Don't know if you know him. Sorry, being cheeky. For players that I've seen that I just thought, do you know, I'm trying to think of the places we need strengthening, and I genuinely can't think of anyone off the top of my head, I'm afraid. But I like look at that Curtis Jones at Liverpool.
Okay.
He looks quite good, and but yeah, I can't think of anyone else. Sorry.
I was going to add the name of Sarr at Watford. I think keep an eye on him. I think he's got 4 goals, I think, this season.
No, you wouldn't be able to sign someone like him. I think they wanted 50 million for him when they were in the
Championship.
Yeah,
he'd be worth a fortune now, wouldn't he? He would be silly money.
Is it cheeky to say that Benrahma's been like a new signing for us? I'm sure other clubs are looking at him saying, "Wow, he's at top of the goal scoring charts with Antonio." Not many teams have.
He took over from Lingard. He's hit it right on the. Since the season started, and he's taken that sort of the mantle that Lingard had, and he needed that because Lingard signed when Benrahma was hitting a bit more form last season, and Benrahma got less time because of it. So he sort of had to take it back and say, no, it's my position. I'm the full time. I'm on the 6-year deal here. You're on the 6-month loan, and so he's really taken it on his stride.
Yeah, and interesting to hear. And Barry Hammer's polls. Perhaps Ian's watching. Ian, hope all is well. If it is you, so indeed. I know he's been very, very busy. I was discussing a few things with Ian the other day. He's very, very busy. So hopefully we'll get him on at some stage. One other thing I was thinking about was in signings in January, Mike. What do you think we need earlier? I mean, we've still got a good time left before then, but perhaps a left back or a striker.
Yeah. We need a left back, definitely, because I have no faith in Masuaku as a left back. I don't mind him as a wing back, but I have absolutely, even then, I'm not 100% convinced about Masuaku. We really need a left back. I've no issues with Creswell, but I do have. He's not going to play every game, is he? I mean, it's interesting. We were linked with that guy. I've forgotten his name now. From Ajax. Do you remember? Argentinian player. That was it. He would have been a really good signing for us. We really need.
He doesn't really suit the Moyes thing, though. I think he might be even 30 now. He was 29, 30. That's the thing. I think it was more.
I get that. But even as a stopgap, we need someone in that squad in that position. The issue with the striker is, we know that Antonio is injury prone. We all know that, right? But no one's going to come in and take that number 9 spot off him, right? So whoever you bring in is a substitute, is the backup striker. That's a hard sell on any player. You can say, we should have gone for Edouard, right? Maybe we should have done, but ultimately, is he going to go in knowing he's number 2? Is he really going to give that up and come in and be number 2? It's the same. Spurs always struggle because everyone they try and sign. Sorry to swear on your channel, but but Spurs have always struggled because no one's going to come in just to be backup for Kane on the off chance he's injured or they want to rotate him out. And we've got that. I was hoping that a Neves guy, who I thought that's quite good, was going to end up being the youngster we give a bit of game time to as a sort of sub striker. But he keeps getting injured, so we've got another potentially good striker who's rather injury prone. But yeah, I would really, if we do need, it'd be interesting to see what Rob Newman thinks is where we need strengthening as well. I thought we really needed somebody else in midfield to come in, which we've done with Krall, who looks, as Barry was saying, looks quite useful when he's been on. And I thought we needed another attacking midfielder, and we definitely need another quality centre back. And we did all those, and we got a goalkeeper, which was, I thought we did really well. It's really hard to getting that backup striker in just to play number 2 to Antonio, because he is going to get picked, and rightly so.
Yeah, Barry, what do you think, Barry? I think for me, Vlasic is. I hope it comes all good. He's the only one. Hopefully. What do you think, Barry? What we need in January?
Well, yeah, Mike has hit the nail on the head. That it's going to be difficult, but I just think we need a striker. We need a backup striker, because as he has alluded to, Mike said about Antonio, he's injury prone, isn't he? And Bowen, love Bowen, right? Works really hard. He just ain't got the finishing boots on at the minute, has he? He can't. To me, from what I see, his finishing is off. So we need a backup striker. But who are you going to get? I haven't got a clue. Really.
I've been banging on about Mitrovic, haven't I? As you know, for a couple of seasons now. I think he got a hat trick in 20 minutes of the last game. I thought he was gettable, but then you can't bring in.
He's too static for that team. That's why. Sorry to interrupt you, but that's why Bowen is the number 2 striker. I mean, you're bang on, Barry, mate. He's not that finisher that we probably need. But his movement off the ball, like when he played against Man U again, it's a game I went to in the Carabao Cup, he dragged their defence all over the place, and that is what Moyes wants. That's why Antonio is so good for us, because he does that and scores goals. While Bowen does that, drag the defence all over the place, didn't stop running for the whole game. He was immense in that, but he had a couple of great chances in that game which he didn't bury, which Antonio would have done, right? But Mitrovic, static. He's going to be marked. And if we were going to do that, we might as well kept Haller. He does that.
Yeah.
Haller wasn't such a fan of it. Still am not. Mitrovic. Penalty taker although
Haller was just way too static. It was his problem. He wanted to be. I saw him. He scored 4 goals, didn't he? I watched the highlights.
He didn't move though. The ball came to him, didn't it, while he's standing there?
He is stood on 4 feet away from the goal. When you play at school, and when you play this football at school, right? There's always someone who's a goal hanger. That's Haller, right?
Offsides.
Yeah, that's what. And that's why he is. And Mitrovic is goal hanger plus thug, isn't he? Because he does the whole, throws his muscle around a bit, but he's just too static. We would need someone who can drag that defence around. That's how Moyes has set that team up to operate. And for that, you have to pay a lot of money, and you're going to have to bring someone in who then won't want to be number 2.
Great. Right. We're going to be wrapping up soon. So one final question, then we'll go to the predictions. Kafal, your comments on Winston Reid, sir, leaving the club. Your feelings? Did he need a testimonial? Did you used to like him? And what do you think?
Well, I'm young enough, so Reid is sort of one of the best centre backs I've ever got to see. He was. I think I was there for his debut actually. I was there when he made his first ever appearance for us, and I was probably only about 7 or 8 at the time, but. I can't say I remember him too well from that one, but great servant for the club. I think it's probably been 3 or 4 years since he played for us, and he was real unfortunate with injuries. But he stayed with us when he could have went to the likes of Arsenal 2015 time when they were solid. They had Alexis Sanchez and Ozil. They were playing great football, and they would have loved to have someone like Winston Reid in the team. Yeah, he'd be one of my sort of my Hammers 11 type of players. He'd be one of my favourites ever, and up there with I grew up in a time where my favourite player ever is Carlton Cole, so there's not the best options around. So I can say I love Winston Reid, and I'm sad we haven't got to see more of him the last few years, but you have to sort of thank him for all he's done for the club.
Barry, your thoughts on Winston Reid? Perhaps he could have come out one of the games this season. Just maybe we could have given him an applause or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that would have been a nice thing to do, yes. To let the fans say goodbye to him, yeah. I think he was a good servant for the club. He was a good player. Shame he got that injury at the end and he hasn't come back into the team. I've got no bad words to say about him, but it would have been nice. It's a nice gesture to bring him back so the fans could just give him an applause to say, see you later.
Mike, do you want a statue of him outside, or what's your feelings on Winston Reid? We'll be running out of space.
Well, first of all, Cole, man, can't control Cole. Come on. He was,
I can't knock him. He's my favourite.
That team was good, actually. I like that team. He was good. Winston Reid, brilliant defender at his peak. I mean, really, really good. But it's a shame what happened. But he was at Brentford, wasn't he, last season, for the second half of last season on loan, and apparently did a really good job for him. But I can't. Now you look at the centre backs we got. He's not going to get in the team. It just isn't. And I think it would have been really nice for him to be able to come on and get a round of applause now that we're back in the stadium. And because he did so much for us, and Carl's right, there was an opportunity for him to go for a lot of money to Arsenal. It was Arsenal who was after him, weren't they? Well and truly after him. He was good, though. He was pacey. He could play the ball. He was good in the air. He read the game well. You look at all of those. We've been fortunate as a team often to have good central defenders, which is ironic because we're famous for letting goals in. But but we have had some great ones. The obvious Alvin Martin, Bobby Moore, and the rest of it, and he is in that bunch. I would put him in that, in that classic central defender that we have had, and I can't pay higher credit to him. Really, really good player in his day.
Yeah, had a couple of seasons, didn't put a foot wrong. Looks to be a really nice person to have around the dressing room. Captain, scored that last goal at Upton Park. So a lot of good memories for him. But unfortunately, some of the really, really young people at the ground, they don't know because he hasn't played for many, sort of good 2-3 seasons at least, really. Right, back to West Ham Brentford. So, Kafal, prediction, what do you think?
I think we'll win. I think 2-1. I can see Brentford scoring. Brentford are a good team for scoring goals. I think it will be a tough game. I think it might be similar to Leeds. It won't be as high tempo, but there'll be a lot of time there. It's going to be back and forth. So I think 2-1. I think Antonio's going to score, and who's gonna? I think Benrahma's gonna get one in. We'll have to give it to him.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think this game for me is very, very difficult to predict. A lot of that thinking is that we just played on Thursday, didn't we? So it's a very quick turnaround. And unfortunately, David Moyes played, one or two players that could have been rested. I'm going to go for 2-2. I'm going to go for 2-2 purely because I can't make up my mind either way. Because I do rate Brentford, especially what I saw against Liverpool, who I know mugs, as we know. So 2-2 for me. Barry, yourself, what do you think?
I was the same as you, 2-2. I think. Well, okay. I think they're going to catch us on a sucker punch. That's what my gut feeling is. Right, this is my gut feeling.
Yeah.
We'll go 2-1 up, and then they'll nick it like we did.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
They're just going to catch us out, and at the end, and it'll be a 2-2 draw.
Mike.
Just following the comments come up here from Glenn. Yeah, Tony Gale, great defender as well. I agree with you. What do I think? I think Moyes will have done his homework, and I think you can shut them out. I think it'll be 1-0 to us.
Oh, right.
And I'm going to go with Antonio with that goal.
Great. So Glenn's going for a 5-3 for the Hammers. Joan, she's very happy to see everyone. And Barry and Mike. So it looks like a lot of people haven't seen both of you, which I was feeling. So it's really, really good to have you on the show. And I'm hoping it's the first of many appearances for both of you. So Barry, enjoyed it this morning?
Yes, mate. Yeah, it's been lovely. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for inviting me. Yeah.
No problem.
Saturday. I'm up for it now. I might have to go to the pub and have a cheeky pint just to get ready for 3 o'clock, I think.
But Barry, do you go to the games at all, or now and again, or are you season ticket holder? Or
I'm not a season ticket holder anymore because I work shift work, but I go when I can. When I can, I go and I try to watch as much on the internet or on the TV as I can.
Yeah, let me know, mate. We'll meet up. I'm usually at the West Ham Supporters Bar. It's a really good place to be, closest bar to the ground, and usually have my good friends from West Ham Network there. So Stella and Anton and all those guys are usually there. So it's nice place to kind of watch it from, really. So want to thank all the viewers for joining in with the really good comments. Kafal, thank you for your time. I know you've been busy during the week with your college and running around. And I know you're feeling a little bit under the weather, so really grateful you came on. Again, thanks. Thank you to Barry. Barry, can you go all right before we go? I love
all
that.
Right, then.
All right, Mike.
And
Mike, can we have some words from Mikhail from you as well, from Moscow? Come on, we got to say some words in your Mikhail voice.
Greetings from Moscow. Yes, and so.
I hope he can join us next time as well. If you can send him a note on the pigeon, that'll be great.
Do you know what? Now that he's out of the gulag, he would come on and join you, but I don't know if you'd do an hour of him.
Of course, I'll do a whole day. Forget the hour. Do the whole day. But thank you to everyone. Just one thing left. Hopefully we play well sort of tomorrow, carry on the good form, and everyone has a great weekend. So come on, you Irons. Take care, everyone.